Hey folks, how's it going? I hope you're well. Welcome to my review of the LEGO City Cargo Train set 60198. This is a pretty immense set. It comes with 1,226 pieces, so it is a pretty sizable set. We've got the engine here, we've got a crane wagon, a log wagon, we've got a container wagon here, we've got a bank transport truck and forklift, as well as 16 pieces of straight track and 16 pieces of curved track. And we also get the switch track, the points here as well. There's a crossing, railway crossing. We've got some buffers here as well. And then we've got 6 minifigures, as well as the new powered up system. So it's a new Bluetooth system with sort of 10 speed digital speed selector, 5 forward and 5 reverse. And we've also got a sort of a control tower here with a working signal. First up, let's look at the train and the wagons, and then we'll move on to the rest of the set as well. Now, here is the engine from the set. It's a fantastic green engine, which is really nice, bright in colour. Now, the obvious thing is it will be compared to an older set that came out in 2006, which is the Cargo Train Deluxe, which is this set. So, preempting all the comments that are saying it looks like 7898, there are similarities to it. It is similar colour. This one is slightly taller. This is an old RC train rather than even Power Functions 1, so it is much older. And this engine did in fact come with a crane wagon as well, so there are similarities to the set as well as the engine, but they've brought it back in a newer form, in a much more modern looking engine. Saying that, I haven't actually managed to find an engine in real life that this is really based on. The closest I could come to is possibly it's inspired by locomotives that ran on German railways in the 1960s. I looked at something called a DB-E44 and I can kind of see similarities to that, mainly because it was an electric locomotive, it had pantographs and it was green, but that's as close as I could come to. So if you do have any ideas of what this engine is actually based on, you put it in the comments. I'll be interested to find out. The LEGO engine itself though, we've got these 2 hatches here that give access to the cabs. Inside the cab, they're exactly the same. You've got the control panel, you've got a seat, and the same again there. The front and the back, we've got these clear round tiles here. And just at the top, and again, the same on the other side, or the other end. The motor just sits under here. The motor usually sits at the back of a LEGO train. So in this case, I imagine that would be the back. That would be the front, but well, hopefully LEGO will release some lights for the powered up system soon, and I'm really hoping they do sort of like a multi-adapter for running extra cables, because it would be nice to be able to fit lights to the front and the back of this engine, and also another motor. This engine has some nice detailing along the side. You've got these grille panels here, which is sort of reminiscent of some sort of cooling system for the electric motors that would be sitting in a real engine. And yes, I'm really happy with the look of this engine and also the build quality as well. It just fits together extremely nicely. If we take these small angled tiles off, we can just take this off, which is the battery box, which is the Bluetooth transmitter and receiver. Got screws here, so we can just take that off and replace the batteries, and we don't have to take any of this build apart at all. So I can fit this back in like that, and as long as the cable is out of the way, it should slide in nicely. So there we go. It's really well designed little engine. That is a fantastic addition to the City Railway line, I think. Now to take a look at the crane wagon, and this is a really nice addition to this set, I think. Being able to move your crane around your rail yard or your railway and in your city is just a nice feature, I think. Looking at the crane, we've got the boom arm here, which is controlled inside here. There's sort of like a little corkscrew gear, and that goes onto a bigger gear, and then the crane can go up and down, or the boom arm rather, can go up and down. And if I just let the string out or the cable out a little bit, you can see that the boom arm is extendable, so it has a slightly better range. So I'll pull that in again. Push that up, and we can have a look inside the cab. In here we've got some pieces that are very reminiscent of joysticks, which I would expect to see to operate a crane like this. Certainly a very practical way to operate this crane. If you look in the doors just by the side here, you can see there's some dials, some detailing there, so your minifigs can check on the machinery of the crane just to make sure everything's working correctly. And on the back here, there's counterweights so that the crane isn't going to tip over. Now, one thing that we also have are some outriggers just underneath the wagon so that the crane isn't going to tip up when it's in operation. And that's a nice little feature that these just tuck away so that you're not going to have any issues with them bumping into anything when the crane is operating on your track. So we can put this boom arm down and connect it like that just to secure the hook, and that is the cargo crane, or the crane wagon as it is called in this set. Next up, we'll take a look at the log wagon, and this is a fairly simple wagon. There's not much to say about it. It comes with 3 tree trunks, which would of course be able to be lifted by the crane wagon. The supports here and the barriers here just to stop the tree trunks falling off the wagon are just, well, very simple. If you wanted to put more on it, you'd have to build up the front and the back as well as the sides. But yeah, there's not much to say about that at all, other than it's a wagon and it has some logs on it, really. That's about it. I can't honestly say much else. It's a fairly simple part of the train set as it is. So swiftly moving on from that one, we'll have a look at the container wagon. And this is slightly different to other container wagons. It does fit with the cargo terminal that we got last year. Again, these are fairly standard sizes now we get. If I show you this container here, this is from the cargo terminal, and they are exactly the same size, so they do fit. There is a standardization now occurring in the containers of the freight business in the Lego City, which is good to see. But so this has 2 containers on it. It's a fairly simple wagon, but yet effective. These tiles with the studs in the middle there, they just ensure that the containers don't fall off. You can just push them on and they're pretty stable. Now, if we take a closer look at these containers, we can see in this one we have a small snowmobile, which of course goes with the Arctic theme sets that come out this year as well. It's just a small snowmobile on a pallet, and the container is, like I said, fairly standard now. And the pallet just fits inside there, like so. Other than that, not much to it. Now, this is the slightly different container that we get, because it's more of a bank kind of, I don't know, security, money, stroke gold, transport container. You can see there's sort of like a safe, a lock, pin code lock there. Look around the back, the sides. But in there we have a pallet. It has some $100 bills and some gold bars. They can just sit in there, nice and secure, and then fit onto this container wagon and be transported around from one bank to the other in a nice secure container. But that's pretty much it for the container wagon. There isn't much else than that. Of course, we can use the crane to move these containers about, or also we can use this, which is the forklift. And this forklift is a pretty straightforward affair, but we have the forks here. They're on an elastic band, it can go up and down, and then we have this, which can also go backwards and forwards. So once we've got a pallet on, we can just pop it back so it's not going to fall off at any point in time. But if we look at the containers here. Got a container and a pallet in here, so this is more for the pallets rather than containers. So if I take this, just slide it just at the top there, should be able to pick up the pallet with the forklift just like that. Back like that, and there it is, nice and stable. We have a forklift truck with a pallet on, and that's it. So a forklift truck, very, very useful when the train wants to unload its cargo, and of course it will work with other pallets that have come out in the cargo line over the past while. So a useful small addition to the train set just to make it a bit more functional. Now we've done the forklift truck. Let's move on to the last main vehicle. And the last main vehicle is this, which is the bank transport truck. Now the bank transport truck is of course meant to transport the money that we find in this transport container. And we can either fit the pallet through the back doors here, like so, or the main way would be with the forklift. Just be going through the side here, and we can just drop it off. And there you have the pallet with all the money and the gold bars. Probably enough to buy a couple of cups of coffee in Lego City, but that's enough to go in there. We've got opening doors at the sides, just these ones here. But of course the traditional way that a Lego minifigure will get into a vehicle is just through the roof. Got a seat there, steering wheel. Other than that, not much else to say about this. I think this is the first bank transport or any sort of like thing like this that I've got with a train set, and I think the oldest set I have at the moment is the 2006 Cargo Train Deluxe. But yes, something slightly different they've brought. I guess it's a different sort of play feature. I know that the police sets have been a popular theme for Lego in the past and ongoing, so I guess they just wanted to add a little bit of something different rather than just cargo stuff. The bank transport does add that something different. Whether that's, I don't know, going to add any value, personally, I think maybe they could have gone with something else, or maybe just left it out for this set. It reminds me of kind of the helicopter in the heavy haul train set. It was kind of like, well, why are we getting another helicopter when we just bought a train? But as a train set, I don't think it brings any extra value, really. I could live without the truck. It's not a low loader, it's not a flatbed truck, so you can't load this. Although theoretically, if someone thought that their snowmobile was extremely valuable, I don't know, does it fit? No, it doesn't even fit. So I can't even fit that in the bank transport truck. So it is literally, it will only carry the money in it. It won't carry anything else. Now, of course, I've got transport sort of flatbed trucks and stuff from previous train sets and previous things like the cargo terminal, but if people just buy this set, then they won't have any other way of transporting their cargo around. So this is, to me, it seems a bit odd, but I don't know. I don't have access to Lego's research or anything, but as part of a train set, not really my thing. I don't think it adds any value to the set overall, but it is a basic truck that will fit the money pallet in. So there you go, that's my thoughts on that anyway, but perfectly good truck. Could have been a standalone set on its own, to be honest, but that's that. So now we've gone through the truck, I will go through, let's have a look at the control tower, shall we? So now this is the first Lego set, I think, in my collection where we've got something like this, like a control tower. I immediately thought it was kind of like a signal box. It has got this working signal as such, so you can change the green and red lights. And it's got the, well, a fairly high platform so that someone can overlook the cargo yard, the rail yard, to make sure everything's working correctly. So I can see where it gives value for a train set like this for sure. So previously in train sets we've had in the below cargo train, we had a cargo yard and I had a kind of a control center which was low down, but it had a crane that went with it. Obviously we get the crane actually as part of the rolling stock as the train itself. I can see how it works in a set. It's actually related to the train set as opposed to the bank truck, which not necessarily related. I can't see any value from that, but yeah, it's a fairly simple control tower, access via this ladder here. If we look at the back here, we've got the all-important coffee machine, and we've also got a chair, and there's a keyboard just inside and a couple of displays that are showing the actual track and the layout itself. There is a small wrench down the bottom here, just in a holder, because this wrench tool is extremely useful in Lego City. You can pretty much fix anything, so that's very useful that they've supplied us with this. Yeah, it is a nice little control tower, fits well with the set. I can see its use, especially with the mobile crane. You can sort of like tell the crane where to go and see problems before they happen. So a nice addition, and yeah, it is the one building that we get with this set. So that's the control tower. Finally, let's have a look at the level crossing. Now this level crossing, it's pretty essential for getting traffic across the rails and everything nice and smoothly, so the truck can travel across into the yard once the track and the full oval is set up. In the crossing, of course, we've got these warnings just to warn people that they are coming up to a level crossing, and just to keep an eye out for any trains. We don't want anyone ending up on there whilst a train is coming. Maybe you do, I don't know. But another nice little touch of these buffers here. And the buffers are a really nice little addition to this set. So this goes at the end of the siding, which they've supplied enough track for us to get a siding. The oval is pretty big, so you could either build your oval really nice and long and make a really nice big track that goes round and round, or you can include the siding as well with the switch track, and at the end of it you've got this buffer, so you can leave rolling stock if you want some of your wagons in the siding and then continue on with a slightly smaller train. But this, I like the addition. I like the little build. It's a fairly simple build, but it looks good. You've got the yellow sort of buffers here, and then yeah, it just stops anything falling off the track or anything going too far. And I think that's just a nice little touch in this cargo train. That's the entire train, as it were. That's all the bits of wagons. That's the control tower, the crossing. But next up, we'll go through the minifigures and have a closer look at those. These are the minifigures that we get with the set. We have a security guard, we've got 4 train workers and a crook, and that's what Lego have called him. Now, I've actually given this guy a job and a good career path, and he's quite happy with that, so he's not really looking for anything else at the moment. So I don't see the fascination of adding a crook to a train set personally, but you can do with him as you wish. He's just a simple thing there. We've got sort of like prints on the back of all these minifigures. I'll have a look, just take the hair off. There's no reverse print on the head. That one. This guy's wearing kind of a hoodie idea. And again, there's no reverse print on the head of any of these minifigures. That's the security guard. But these are the minifigures. 4 train workers is plenty for this set, I think. We've also got this guy who, well, I'm training him at the moment just to be a forklift driver so he can be productive. He's enjoying himself, I think, and yeah, no longer thinking about trying to get any money or anything like that from the bank transport truck. So just to round this review up, if you're still watching this video, then you've probably guessed by now that there are some parts of this set that I love and others that I could quite easily live without. So the train itself, the engine, really well built. I love the look of it. It's a fantastic addition to any Lego railway. The log wagon even, very simple, but valid and useful wagon to have in a railway for sure. The crane wagon, brilliant, absolutely love it. It serves a function and it's just a great looking crane. And the container wagon as well, yeah, useful as well. Things that I could live without. I don't really see the point of the bank transport or the bank sort of container. That's something I could do without. And the control tower, yes, I can see if it's your first train set, then yeah, definitely I can see the point of that. Maybe they could have just saved the money on the bank transport. So yeah, that's I could live without that though. The crossing, that's pretty standard, and the buffers, brilliant little addition. And of course the forklift truck, well, you need something to move your pallets around. Now, instead of the control tower and the bank transport truck, maybe they could have just put a small platform in to unload the containers and then have the flatbed truck to take them away. Possibly, that would have been nice, having a sort of like a cargo platform to use. That would have been a new thing that hasn't been done for a while, I don't think. So yeah, that would have been good. And just going over the powered up system, just to say that the receiver or the controller here needs 4 AAA batteries, and the batteries in the battery box in the actual engine itself, there's 6 AAA batteries in there. I will set it up downstairs in the garden. It's a really nice dry day. I don't recommend doing it in the wet or anything like that, and make sure you keep track of your Lego pieces if you are taking it outside, but it's not designed to go outside, but I'm doing it just because it's a nice sunny day and it's dry. And I just want to show you guys the actual layout that comes with this set. So if you've enjoyed this video, then you can give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next one.